Sairam children, today we learn about transportation in animals and plants. This is for class 7 and sciences, and it is the part 1 of the video. In part 1 we learn about transportation in animals. In the next part we learn about transportation in plants. So the main methodology of transportation in animals is through blood. You all know that blood travels in our body, full body, where it transports the food, energy, everything, correct? So part 1 covers transportation in animals, and we'll be learning mainly about blood and blood vessels. Now we learn about the circulatory system in human beings. This picture here shows the circulatory system in the human beings. It consists of heart, blood cells, these are the various parts in the blood cells, and the blood vessels which go from the heart to all the parts of the body and they return the thing. It is mentioned both blue and red color. Okay. All organisms need food, water and oxygen for survival. Now this has to be transported to all the various parts in the body. Again, we have to transport back the waste from all the parts of the body out of the body through the lungs and urine, stool, etc. The blood helps there also. Now this is done through the circulatory system in the human body, which consists of heart, bloods and blood vessels. What are the other parts in the circulatory system? They are the kidney and lungs. Though kidney filters the liquid waste products and lungs brings in oxygen and takes out carbon dioxide. Now let us learn more about blood. Now we can see the blood, a drop of blood in the finger, correct? What is the blood? It flows through the blood vessels. Blood vessels are like the pipes in our body. The blood flows through the blood vessels. Now what is the purpose of the blood flow? The blood flow, the purpose is to transport digested food from the small intestine. The digested food from the stomach, small intestine is part of the stomach, gets transported to all the parts of the body. That is one of the main purpose of the blood. The next purpose of the blood is to take oxygen from lungs to the body cells. So that is also second purpose of the blood, oxygen from lungs to body cells. The third purpose is to transport waste for removal. The waste gets removed from the body through the bloods. One of the important component of the blood is the plasma. Plasma is yellowish in color, which forms part of the blood. So plasma contains various other materials which is in the blood. So plasma is the base and other materials are mixed in the plasma, and that is also the reason plasma is while yellow, the blood looks red in color. Now let us look into the various components of the blood. One important component of the blood is the red blood cells, which contain a red pigment called hemoglobin. This gives the red color. Now what you are seeing is the picture of the hemoglobin in the red blood cells, which is taken using a microscope. Our normal eyes cannot see these pictures. What is the purpose of the hemoglobin? The hemoglobin binds oxygen to the blood and transports it to all the cells. So because of the hemoglobin only, blood is able to carry oxygen to all the cells. Now let us see other aspects of the blood. Now there is some process called centrifugation. What happens in a centrifugation process? They can separate the various components of the blood. So for example, if you take a tube full of regular blood and put it into a centrifugation process, the blood will get separated into these three components. What are the three components? Plasma, red blood cells, and white blood cells. So we learnt about plasma and red blood cells in our previous slides. Now let us see what is white blood cells. What they do. So the blood also has white blood cells, which is also called WBC, which fight against germs that may enter our body. So white blood cells are very, very important. Without white blood cells, we cannot fight germs. So whenever germs enter our body, these white blood cells only fight against the germs. So white blood cells is very important part of the body. Another important things is called platelets. So blood also has something called platelets. What are the platelets? Platelet is because of which clot is formed. I'll just explain you. So if you cut a finger, blood will flow immediately, correct? But it will not flow continuously. After some time, the blood flow stops. Why? So for example, you have a pipe where water is flowing. If you cut the pipe, all the water in the pipe will go out, correct? It will not stop till then. But that does not happen in case of blood. Whenever you have a small cut, the blood comes out. After few seconds, automatic the blood flow stops. That is because we have a special cell called platelet in our body, which ensures that clots are formed. So immediately the blood becomes dry at that spot and the cut gets blocked. So blood flow is reduced. Okay, that is very important. So we are able to survive the small cuts, etc., because of this platelets. So that is also formation of the ability of the blood to form clot, which is because of platelets, is very important function, so that we don't lose too much blood during injuries. Now next slide, we'll talk about the blood vessels. So now we spoke about the blood. But how blood is a liquid, you all know it. But how this blood flows throughout the body? They flows throughout the body through blood vessels. Now blood vessels are of two types, arteries and veins. The difference is quite simple. Arteries. Arteries are blood vessels, which is marked red in color here, which carries oxygen-rich blood from the heart to all the parts of the body. Okay, they have thick elastic walls. Okay, the wall is thick. The blood vessels are like a pipe only. You can say it like a hose pipe, a flexible hose pipe made up of muscles, but they have thick elastic walls. Why? Because when the blood comes out of the heart, it comes out in very high pressure. So if the walls are very loose, the blood walls will break. Because of that, God has made it in a manner that the arteries, the walls are very thick, so that the high blood pressure also they can withstand and blood will flow in a proper manner throughout the body. Correct? That is why it is thick. The next thing is throbbing in arteries is called pulse. So if you see that, if you put your finger on your hands, you can see small taps feeling, you'll get sound, because what happens, the heart is pumping blood, no? So when pumping the blood is flowing through the vessels, So you will see that pulse. The number of times the heart pumps, that many pulses the blood goes. So blood does not flow very smoothly because heart has to pump each time. So every time it pumps, the blood flows. So it pumps nearly, I think, 90 times in a minute. So fast the heart keeps pumping blood. Okay, you might have seen some videos of heart, open heart, wherein the blood gets pumped very fast. It's working very fast and it works continuously. So how beautiful it is. Even if you run your house motor, water motor, pump, if you continuously run, it will burn out. But our heart keeps pumping the blood from the day we are born till the day we die. It keeps continuously pumping the blood. So that's how it is, the pulse rate. So the heart, that is the beauty of the God's creation of the heart, which is a very important organ for us. Because if the heart does not function, blood will not flow. If blood does not flow, oxygen, food, energy will not flow. So heart is very important. What is pulse rate? The number of time heart beats, the number of pumps heart makes per minute is called the pulse rate. Now let us learn about the other type of blood vessel called veins. Now veins are shown in blue in color, but they are not actually blue in color. They are like any other muscles. What is the purpose of the veins? They carry blood with carbon dioxide from all the parts of the body to the heart. That is the purpose of the veins. They do the opposite of arteries. Now, since blood does not have much pressure like in arteries, the walls of veins are thin walls. They are not very thick walls. But they have a special feature called valves. What these valves do, you can see it here. The valves allow blood to flow only in one direction. If the blood flows in the reverse direction, they close. Because they don't have pressure, this valve helps that blood flows only towards the heart and not in the reverse direction. Now, this picture will show you what is happening. So, blood from the heart comes through arteries. They again split into smaller vessels and again into much smaller vessels called capillaries, which take the blood from the heart to each cell. Now, from this, the again blood gets collected with carbon dioxide and other waste products. They get into smaller vessels and then to the big veins. This is how the blood vessels work in flowing the blood from heart to the cells and back to the heart. Now, what are the main difference between artery and veins? Artery carries blood away from the heart because it carries blood from heart to all the cells. Veins, they do the opposite. They bring blood towards the heart because they carry blood from the cells to the heart. Now, because heart is pumping the blood in the arteries are under high pressure. Whereas in the veins, blood under low pressure because they are just coming back to the heart. They don't have that much pressure. Okay, because of the high pressure, the artery walls are also thick so that they should not break. Since the pressure is low in veins, the walls are also thin. Okay, and as I told you, pulse, you can keep, heart pumps the blood in pulses. So the flow is pulse. Tap, 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 it goes. Whereas veins, the blood is returning. So there's no pump. So it is very smooth, slow flow of blood into the heart. It is having narrow lumen. It have large lumen. Why? Because of the high pressure, blood can go through narrow. Because here pressure is not much, the blood vessels will be large so that blood can easily enter the heart. There are no valves. I told you what is the reason for the valves. Valves are used to avoid reverse flow of blood. Because in artery, blood is getting pumped. Because of the force, the blood will not return. But in case of the veins, because the blood is not getting pumped, there is chances blood will return. Do that. So to stop that, these valves are useful. Artery, it is blood rich in oxygen, whereas veins, the blood is poor in oxygen. It is more of carbon dioxide. Except pulmonary artery and pulmonary veins, that I will explain to you in the next slides. Now let's see all the adults can donate blood, because they say that how much ever blood you donate means, they say 350 milliliter something, it comes back to us within 3-4 days. It is not harmful. So blood donation is a very very important thing we should do. So we should always, children should not give blood, only adults can give the blood for others. Once in 3 months they can go and give, healthy people can give the blood, because it will save somebody's life. Because if someone met with an accident, he loses lot of blood. For him to survive, we need some blood. So blood donation is very important. If all of us can do that, but not children, only adults. If adults only, big people only can donate blood, then it is a very good habit and it will help others who are in need of blood. So this is also a God's gift, because you cannot purchase, it cannot be grown, it cannot be manufactured in the factory. It is possible in only a human body. So blood donation is a very very holy service activity and is totally harmless. It is voluntary. Nobody can force somebody to do blood donation. Anybody wants to feel that he is doing blood donation which is good for others, he can do it. So when you people grow up into adults, when you go to colleges, you should also make a habit that once in 3 months or 4 months you should do blood donation, which helps other people. So where are the places you can donate blood? You can donate blood at hospitals, and many times they conduct camps in colleges, so that at a one place the blood can be collected from multiple people, and you can see these people are happily donating blood. They are nothing happens. It's like a small needle they put in the hands. It is like a injection, and after 15-20 minutes, one packet of blood gets collected, and they give you some snacks like juices, biscuits. That's all, nothing else. So it's such a simple activity where all of us can do some service. Now we'll come to the questions. So these are the blood from the heart is transported to all parts of the body by the, you know the answer. Hemoglobin is present in which cell? You know the answer. Arteries and veins are joined by a network of, you know the answer. What will happen if there is no platelets in the blood? I spoke about clot, so you should able to answer this. What are the components of blood? That also you know lot. Plasma, red blood, white blood, platelets. Why blood needed in all parts of the body? And what makes the blood look red?